Hey folks, it's Cool Guy, and today we're going to be closing out the British campaign, which makes me kind of sad because it means Skillness won't be back with us until the British finale a little bit later. But this is also a really good one to send it off on because it's an extremely famous battleship. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that, Skillness?
Hi, I'm Skillness622. The battleship in question we're going to be dealing with today is the Tirpitz, sister to the Bismarck. And basically was the thorn in the side of the Royal Navy Home Fleet for the entire of the war. She's based out of Norway, did very little of consequence during the war, but still managed to be the main problem that the Navy came up with increasingly insane solutions to deal with until we finally got rid of her in the end of 1944. And this mission is actually is the preliminary beginning of the final attempt to sink her in October.
Yeah, This is one mission that I both love and hate because it's got a really nice aesthetic to it, but the way the enemies spawn and everything can be kind of annoying. So, and I've been extremely rude, I'm sorry. Also with us is my old buddy.
Hey everybody, it's the Last Robot Guy here, and a little confession about myself. I really hate being on boats, so, you know how Cool Guy gets really happy when you see, like, certain things get blown up and stuff? Well, I'm going to be filled with absolute joy when we blow up this boat.
We're not going to see the entire thing blow up, but we're going to be blowing up most of the cool components.
Yeah, that's important to me. You put me on a boat and immediately my legs lose their shit and I follow. And start vomiting all over myself. I don't know what it is.
Well, with that new and interesting fact, let's get started.
Haha, Robokai, I bet you're loving this.
Oh god.
Bounce, C-bounce, 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 C-bounce.
Oh dear. See, fictional boats I'm okay with, because I can't feel the ground going absolutely wonky underneath me. But, man, that's choppy as fuck.
So one thing to note is that we should be able to see the fjords of Norway around here, but we can't because it's a technical thing. I mean, those fjords make no difference to this mission, so why would you bother rendering them?
You could be pining for them.
Shut up!
Tirpitz was put in the Norwegian fjords basically because they made it so difficult to attack by air. And actually, of all people, George Lucas took the various air attacks that sort of attempted to get through the fjords as the inspiration for the Death Star trench run. It doesn't especially deal with Tirpitz, but if anyone's seen the old film 633 Squadron, the final sequence of that is basically the Death Star trench run done 20 years ago by RAF people attempting to bomb a ship in the fjords.
Okay, we're clear to approach. Evans, you and I will need to get below decks and find the armor before we can cripple the engines. Stick with me, and unless your German's improved, let me handle the talking. Waters, you stay here. Be ready to leave at a moment's notice.
I didn't realize that about the trench run.
It's one of those things, it's a very British film, so unless you're British, and really you're British of a certain age, you will never have seen it.
Oh, Lucas really did like a lot of different films from a lot of different countries in his younger days and took them as influences.
Bitte Erlaubnis, an Bord kommen zu dürfen.
Erlaubnis erteilt.
So they can translate German, they just choose not to most of the time.
I suppose you could say like, oh well, he suddenly learned German in the time between the last one and this one. There we are. Price says makes that thing about unless your German's improved. So less that might be a bit of a dig at it.
Dürfte ich wohl Ihre Papiere sehen?
Well, yeah, it's also referring to the fact that our own soldiers are always silent.
Musste zu einem dringenden Treffen mit Admiral Dönitz.
Alles in Ordnung. Willkommen an Bord.
Yeah, well, that too.
It's also worth noting that Price's cover story right here, by this point in the war, was actually not that terribly believable. Admiral Dönitz started out being a really annoying person at the beginning of the war. He would constantly request updates from submarines and everything like that. But after he learned that he was jeopardizing the readiness and safety of his sailors, he shaped up surprisingly quickly. A lot of humility for somebody in high command.
Well, I think you get replaced if you're not given results.
Yeah, that's probably true too.
Well, when you compare what happened then to Admiral Ryder, who controlled surface fleet up until, what was it, 44, I think. Then, not surprised that Tirpitz was sort of trying to be as good as possible.
So normally Price will walk at this painfully slow pace the entire way, but fortunately if you walk ahead of him, he'll jog to catch up to you.
He'll occasionally stop to inspect the riveting.
Yeah, the scripting on him is kind of obnoxious, but fortunately it gives you a save point, you know, right after you're done with this section of it.
I just can't get over how ludicrous Captain Price looks in that disguise.
Dürfte ich wohl Ihre Papiere mal sehen? Ich muss das überprüfen. Einen Moment bitte. Ich habe einen Offizier hier. Er sagt, er habe Papiere.
Stealthy.
Grab a weapon and explosives, quick! The ship's boiling.
You'd have thought they'd at least given him a silenced Luger, or one of the many silenced weapons the British had developed.
Go figure.
I mean, come on, it's not like this is exactly Black Ops here. We're not trying to disguise where we're coming from.
Also, they did learn from the previous level because that klaxon is about to shut up. Look, it silenced itself, and it will not be coming back the rest of the mission.
Hallelujah.
The playtester may or may not have eaten a designer alive.
To be honest, I think I like your theory of it was the lead designer's son or something.
My son played Wolfenstein, and he says we need more Wolfenstein.
It's funny enough, this is actually the one segment of the whole of Call of Duty I remembered before I got back into it and started doing the RP. The reason I remembered it is because I absolutely hated it. This one corridor, I think, accounted for more deaths than any other part of this game put together.
Yeah, that corridor can be extraordinarily lethal because a lot of people have MP40s, and you know you don't have any cover from Price. Price will not move back from where he's at.
Yeah, he sent you on first, tell him all that.
So yeah, what you're going to see here is this is not skill from me. This is a lot of spawn memorization and hoping that the game doesn't act bullshitty, which it will on 2 separate occasions in this video, which I have left in for your viewing enjoyment.
Well, I can't wait.
Well, I suppose we might as well show everyone what death looks like.
Oh god. Not quite. Not quite the first death yet. But that's exactly why Skildus is saying this place is so lethal. I mean, I got caught in the center there, and there wasn't a whole hell of a lot I could do.
I'm not gonna lie, like, I love the little caps they're wearing. That's adorable. No offense, like, to anybody, like, military vets or anything, but yeah. Such adorable caps.
And you may have noticed that Price is down and is not moving. Yeah. He is scripted to die here. There is nothing you can do to save him.
To us, I'm always amazed. I remember the first couple of times I played this, I was sure that something had broken, because okay, fair enough, you're going to kill a character, but just to have him die with literally no fanfare, I was just really shocked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He will only die when you're far away from him too. I mean, you will never ever see him go down. You'll just come back around and he'll be on the ground.
Wait, could you conceivably not get far enough away from him to not let the scripting kill him? Or would you have to?
I have attempted to do that, but it appears to happen when you're setting one of the far casks of dynamite. And there's bullshit number 1. Where did that man come from? I don't know. As nearly as I can tell, he phased through the wall, because I have no freaking idea where he came from.
Cue the Aliens references.
Yeah. The other one will be a hell of a lot funnier than that, I will say.
Slip up on a banana peel. To a room full of Germans.
Get yourself with your own grenade again.
Oh, not quite that incompetent, but it's one of the times when the game is very clearly thumbing its nose at me. I just barely got that guy before he threw my grenade back.
That's why it's not detonating, because it was in his hand.
Yes, actually, I'll show you that in a minute here. When you kill somebody with a grenade in their hand, it will stay in their hand, but it won't detonate.
Even though it's already live. Oh dear, game design.
There you go. So, there's the potato masher. So freaking amazing. Also, I never want to hear "Why don't you shoulder your SMG again?" This is why. Every time I do this, I freaking blind myself.
Yeah, you can really see what you're shooting at with the muzzle flare.
To be fair, it kind of is required for this segment, just because it's just long enough that you don't want to use it from the hip, but the corridor is so short that trying to throw a grenade that far can be really weird.
So as well, they left a bunch of health packs lying around near where you might, trip and stab yourself on a missile or torpedo head.
Another one that makes me happy that I'm not playing on Veteran, simply because that wouldn't have been there, along with everything else. Yeah, that one scared the hell out of me.
Nothing worse than being in the middle of a reload.
And that guy had an MP40. I mean, you'll see a little bit later in this video exactly how quick it is. I'm not exaggerating when I say it's fractions of a second for this thing to kill you.
I gotta tell you, it's taken literally no time at all for me to get completely and utterly lost. I don't know where we are in the ship anymore from before.
It's a circle, man.
I was going to say it's basically what 4 sides of a square, isn't it? Then
Yes, I mean,
so that's price.
Okay, so that's price.
Yeah, and that's price. But yeah, this is just 4 sides of a square down by the engine room. I mean, there's nothing to really get lost over. Though above decks, there is a lot more to get lost over.
I was always confused by geometry.
Well, the shitty thing that this level does to you is that up top, you don't have a ton of direction on where to go. You obviously have your objective marker, but it seems like there's a bunch of different ways to get there, and the more ways you do it wrong, the more soldiers you have to take care of. So, I mean, on one hand, I suppose it's a little bit like an actual ship mission in that you want to do this as efficiently as possible. I mean, you just want to get in, get out, get on with your life.
And Captain Price's as well, because he can't.
Yeah. This is another area that just sucks to fight in because, I mean, this hangar door opens to a very open field of fire. And there's dudes above.
That's okay, that means you get the mandatory falling over a railings death animation. I will admit, in my practice runs for this, I was like, that couldn't possibly work, just running out like that. And that actually works a lot better than trying to... Jesus Christ, I forgot that was still in there.
As you were saying?
It still works a lot better than trying to fight from the hangar itself. But that was another bullshit death in that, there was that one guy up top with a Kar 98K. You know that partner who just shot me to death with his Kar 98K? He wasn't there 5 seconds ago. He literally spawns as a trigger when you shoot the first guy and look away.
That is quite harsh.
That is what it takes to get that man to spawn. You have to shoot his partner and then look away. I mean, now that I've looked away, if I look back up there, oh look, there he is again.
It's an entire family, they do that constantly. Just enjoy spawns whenever it falls over.
It's pretty awful.
Just a little peek out.
Very gingerly sneak around the corner.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, please don't hurt me.
I'll just test the waters with my face.
Well, it's the only thing you've got. Under any other circumstances, I would have made an AI teammate go forward. But do you see any here? Any here? Now this is another interesting thing that you'll see me exploiting a couple of times. That grate right there, you can totally fire through it, but enemies can't quote-unquote see you through it, so they will not shoot back.
If it works, it works.
With how hard this game is griefing me as far as, you know, the enemy spawning, I feel absolutely no shame at exploiting the game back like this.
What just happened to his ragdoll?
Good question.
He landed in his death animation and then realized there was no ground, so he just fell.
Pretty much.
As face down.
Hoy boy. So that was the first really hard part of this mission, is getting out of the freaking hangar. Next one is going up into the command tower, and there are 3 ways you can do it. And all of them are going to spawn enemies, and if you don't know where you're going, it's very easy to accidentally trigger all 3. And this is basically how I deal with not having enough grenades to lead all the time, is I'm just going to lean around and just start spraying SMG fire.
And it pays off.
Every so often it pays off.
It only has to pay off once for it to be a good plan.
As much as you laugh, that is essentially how everyone does room clearing drills nowadays.
I'm not sure that one was necessary.
Yeah, I'm just sort of spinning around like a top. And the objective we have for this, by the way, is just destroying the communications equipment.
So they can't let anybody know that there is this one crazy British guy just annihilating them.
Or call for, like, you know, other anti-air help where, while a bunch of their stuff is offline. So that's another dick move that the game pulls against you right there with those 2 guys. There is literally no way to access that area they're at. It's completely isolated. But it will spawn it when you get to the area up here, just to make your escape a little bit more hellish. So, here's your fun time, Robokai.
Oh, here we go. Oh, well, after that.
1,
Note game saved.
Oh no.
2.
This is...
Let's take some bets, people. 3.
This is hell. This is hell that is a video game.
4.
How do you get out of this? There we go.
Ah, boo. Spoil my fun.
If you bet 4, you win!
I'm genuinely surprised you didn't just teabag that guy. Just retribution.
I felt like the entire thing was too stupid. I mean, you saw it right there. That wasn't skill that saved me. That was mashing the strafe key and a magic bullet threading the needle through the damn window.
All the more Germans just hanging around.
This is what it spawns for you, you know, after you get the MacGuffin that lets you leave this place. Now, I want to note, the MacGuffin I had to grab were the naval patrol logs. Like Skillness was saying, the naval patrol logs of the Tirpitz would not be terribly interesting because it's basically been hanging out in the fjords of Norway for the last 3 years.
I think it's more sort of the patrol logs of everything else, because obviously it wasn't just the Tirpitz sat in a fjord, it was the Tirpitz and a lot of escorting patrol boats, destroyers, etc. So I'm guessing RAF would want to know when they could thread the needle through the patrolling ships and get the bombers in. Because the way they actually, the RAF did it was they... the same squadron that destroyed the Sorpa Dam of Last Mission's fame, which basically was then turned into a special operations squadron, used ludicrously powerful bombs, which were basically designed to sort of level city blocks, attempting to drop them on the Tirpitz. They dropped them on the Tirpitz. Most of the ones that actually hit bounced off, but basically the ones what did the damage was they managed to land bombs right next to it, and the shockwave capsized the battleship, and then when it capsized, it just went down then.
That's kind of weird that they just bounced off. Was that a triggering mechanism problem that was known, or...?
No, it's the armour. Because when you think about it, if you think of how large standard battleship weapons were at the time, and Tirpitz was designed to be able to defeat that, so even if they were dropping £5,000 tall boys, that's substantial, but not exactly life-threatening to battleships.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Well, and with that, we are done with the British campaign for now. Like with the Americans, we'll be back for a finale mission at the end of the Russian campaign. And Skelnis will be back with us then as well, because that's also a really, really cool mission that they finally give you Sergeant Waters to roll around with. So looking forward to that one, and also really looking forward to the Russian campaign. I seriously suggest you guys tune in and watch that one, because the Russian campaign is one of the things that I point to when somebody asks me to refute Roger Ebert, God rest his soul. So until then, I've been Cool Guy.
I have been the Lost Robo Kai.
I've been Skillness622.
Take good care of yourselves and all those you love, folks.
And fuck boats.